In a world that grows smaller each day through technology, communication, and shared experiences, the persistence of war stands as a stark contradiction to our interconnectedness. The toll of conflict affects not only the regions embroiled in violence but also resonates globally, with waves of suffering, displacement, and loss reverberating across borders. The ongoing crisis in Gaza, among other war-torn regions, presents a sobering reminder of the urgent need for peace. This essay explores the need for peace as a path to shared human progress and prosperity, with a focus on the crises affecting communities in Gaza and beyond. The world must come together to advocate for solutions that prioritize human life, dignity, and the preservation of future generations. The toll of conflict on humanity. Conflict by its nature disrupts lives, communities, and entire societies. It not only leads to the tragic loss of life, but also devastates economies, displaces populations, and scars the collective psyche of those affected. In regions like Gaza, war has left generations grappling with uncertainty, trauma, and limited resources to rebuild. The burden of conflict is especially harsh on vulnerable populations, including children, who grow up amidst violence rather than experiencing the security and freedom they deserve. This endless cycle not only affects those directly involved, but also impacts neighboring countries and the world at large, creating instability and insecurity on a global scale. War's impact on the next generation. The tragedy of war is that it does not end with a ceasefire. The impact extends far beyond the battlefield and deeply affects the youngest and most vulnerable members of society. Children in war zones are denied access to a peaceful environment, to education, and to a sense of normalcy, which are crucial for healthy development. In regions like Gaza, the lack of stability has caused untold suffering and an ongoing humanitarian crisis that prevents children from growing up in a nurturing and supportive environment. Every life lost and every future stunted by war is a reminder that peace is the only path forward. Human rights and the right to peace. Every person has the right to live in peace, free from the fear of violence, displacement, and suffering. This is not just a moral imperative. It is enshrined in international law, through instruments like the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. The right to peace goes hand in hand with the right to a life of dignity, opportunity, and security. However, achieving this vision requires more than mere declarations. It requires a commitment from all nations to uphold these principles and work together to ensure that every community has the opportunity to flourish without the shadow of war. A call for international cooperation. To end the cycle of violence, we need a global coalition committed to resolving conflicts through diplomacy, dialogue, and respect for human rights. International organizations, governments, and non-governmental organizations must work together to mediate conflicts, address root causes of violence, and support communities in rebuilding their lives. The international community has a responsibility to prevent the escalation of violence and provide humanitarian assistance to those affected. Through collective action, it is possible to lay the groundwork for long-lasting peace in conflict-prone regions. Conclusion: a collective vision of peace. The crisis in Gaza serves as a painful reminder of the consequences of inaction and the urgent need to prioritize peace over conflict. The path to peace is not easy, but it is the only sustainable solution for a world that values human life and dignity. By embracing peace and rejecting the divisive rhetoric that fuels conflict, we can create a future where all communities have the opportunity to thrive, free from the fear of violence and war. Now, more than ever, it is time to invest in peace for the sake of today's generation and for all who will inherit the world we leave behind.